I'm Matt, and welcome to Procrastination Garage. This is episode 100. Woohoo! Wednesday morning around 8:30 a.m. We got a lot to do today. Unload that, load the mower, go over mow. But before that, I got to go do some shopping. But the big thing is we got to get ready to go camping tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, which means getting the side-by-side loaded on this trailer behind the motorhome. Plus, I need to get the two ATVs prepped because I think they're going to be borrowed by friends. So, fun times. About 9 a.m., loaded and ready to go. Except we're going to go shopping. Then we'll come back and go mowing. It's Wednesday afternoon, about 4:30 p.m. Do you know where your cat is? Yeah, my whiny cat's right down there. Anyway, so we finished up the mowing over at the rental, came back, unloaded the mower, put the trailer onto the motorhome, and now we're ready to load up the side-by-side. But first, we got an ATV project. You may recall I loaned this ATV to a friend. Actually, I loaned both my ATVs to a couple friends. And this one here started flashing a warning message on the dash. And looking online, all indications are that it's a bad voltage regulator. So I went online to RM Stator. That was the one everybody recommended, and I bought a new one. And here it is right here. So we're going to replace that one. That's the old one. So it's pretty simple. We're going to have to move this metal bracket over to the new one and then plug it in, bolt it on, piece of cake. And hopefully will be no more error messages on the dash. Now, there wasn't an error message all the time. It was occasional. So we won't know for sure it's fixed until we put some miles on it. But we're going to assume that that is a problem. The new bracket's installed. That was easy, just 2 bolts. So I believe when I disassembled it, I took the bolt out and then I unplugged it. So that means I'm going to plug it back in and then I'm going to put the bolt back in. And before we plug it in, I'm going to use some dielectric grease. So I'll do that, get it plugged in. Done deal. That was easy. I reinstalled the bolt after plugging the 2 connectors in. Everything seems to be fine. When I plugged the connectors in, they didn't give a positive click or anything. So we want to keep an eye on them, but they seem to be seated as far as they're going to go. So let's fire the thing up and see if we have an error message or anything. One thing kind of cool with the RM Stator kit is it comes with this wiring hardware here. So apparently my 2007 is wired different, and maybe all the earlier models are. And so you have to wire these plugs in. And I saw online where there's instructions on how to do it, and it looked pretty simple. So if the one goes out on the 2007, it looks like I order another one of these kits. I get more of these parts, and I'm going to hold on to these parts anyway. But anyway, it'll be easy enough to swap it. We'll see. Let's hope that one never fails. Hi, good to see you again. Since you're still here, do me a favor, hit the like button, please subscribe, and tell all your friends. Thanks. It's a beautiful Thursday afternoon, and 5 families from the Driftaway Snowmobile Club have set up camp for the weekend. We are back at the same site we camped at last year, but it's earlier in the season and there's no campfire restrictions, so we made use of that throughout the weekend. The idea of coming up on Thursday is to make sure nobody beats us to this spot. Over the course of the weekend, we picked up one more family to camp, and several other members stopped in to either ride side-by-sides or hang out around the campfire. On Friday, we gained one more. My daughter came up to spend the night and join us on a side-by-side ride. Cue that video now.
Hey besties!
Hey!
Where are we?
That's a good question. We're somewhere near Bethel Ridge.
Yes. And in the background, that's Devil's Table. Well, I guess not the background, but I'm showing you now. Over there is Devil's Table. You know that quote that they say, not all those that wander are lost? That's what we're doing right now. We're wandering. Did you already talk about what we're doing this weekend? because I've got, you know, the animal sitting. You guys probably know the works. And then I gotta leave tomorrow morning because I have a wedding to go to. So, yeah, but I'm here now. And then after this, we're gonna go. Ooh, that was a big bug. We're going to the woodshed for dinner. I'll be sure to get some footage there for you guys. We're having prime rib.
Prime rib.
Yeah, it's their prime rib night. And I would like to say that it is thanks to me, because I was the one that asked if we could do Friday night. So everyone that's getting prime rib, you know, they'll be grateful for me. They don't know it, but Daddy knows it. So, but yeah, we're riding around exploring. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the footage. Oh, and Daddy's testing out his new camera. So hopefully you'll have some of that in there.
Hopefully.
As well. So if you see something that looks different, that's probably what it is. So stay tuned for that.
Alright, I think we're recording. We'll find out later.
The red light's blinking.
That's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
That makes it get ready to at night.
It's flashing, but I don't know what it's doing.
Can you see like numbers?
It's gone dark, it's the problem. Huh? The road I want back there. Just follow me. I know. It's all good.
What did he say?
He said that's where I get in trouble.
I was gonna say famous last word. Actually, that's the road, Daddy. Daddy, that's not the road.
Might be. I don't know.
Sunrise. I barely even knew who you were. What did you do? I didn't care, 'cause you were perfect, I swear. But somebody told me that it's over. I know it's true. You made me happy for a while. Stars shone in our eyes like the lights of fireplace. We were obsessed and we felt warmth in our chests. Your heart was full of dreams. It made you feel extreme. Give me a sign if you keep it in mind. But somebody told me that it's over. I know it's true. You made me happy for a while. I remember fleeting times when we stepped on top of cars. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too. I remember fleeting times when we watched the sparks so far. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too. We knew we'd be forever young. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too. I knew that love would never die. Now everybody's on their own. If I could see you now, you would stand out from the crowd, and maybe you would notice me. Then our eyes would meet. I would feel my heart beat when you looked and smiled at me. Back then our love was so strong. We wanted this to go on, but now it's only a pleasant memory. If I could see you now, you would stand out from the crowd, but you would not even notice me. I remember fleeting times when we stepped on top of cars. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too. I remember fleeting times when we watched the sparks so far. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too. We knew we'd be forever young. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too. I knew that love would never die. Now I don't know you, you don't know me too.
Something's grabbing me.
Good morning and welcome to day 3 of our camping adventure. So Yesterday, one of the gals that's camping with us, she had walked up this road here. She said, you ought to take the side-by-side up there and see where it goes. And I didn't figure it went very far. But I walked up here this far, and there's a little meadow off to the side there. It continues on up the hill there. And that leads back to camp. So I might have to do that. Interestingly, there's a drag mark here, this whole length. Looks to me like somebody probably dragged a log all the way back to camp, maybe cut it up for firewood. I don't know. But anyway, cool little fire road. Saturday's ride was along Bethel Ridge. We did make a detour and drop down to Bear Lake and the Bear Lake campground. That's where we are right here.
No more?
After leaving Bear Lake, we had to climb back up on top of Bethel Ridge. Here's our group going up now. The views from Bethel Ridge are pretty spectacular. So did they just come up the way we did?
They said they went to the first road and made the right. This is a nice gravel road all the way up.
This is out at the end of the 620 four-wheel drive trail. It's a favorite place to go. Just look at that water. So inviting. Okay, it's cold. Not inviting enough for me to jump into it. It's Sunday afternoon around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and returning home from a 4-day camping adventure with friends. Went up on Thursday and here we are back on Sunday. Great weekend. Took UTV rides over 4 days, and I'm sure I've got video from some of it. Trying out a new camera, we'll see how it goes if I can figure out how to edit it. The adventure is not over for one in our party. They had a flat tire on Friday night when we went out to dinner, and so they had their spare on, and then as they were leaving today, they had another flat. So another in our group is taking them into town, hoping to find a tire to replace one of, and we'll get them back up there and get it swapped out. So hopefully that goes all right. But anyway, it was a great weekend, and now it's time to get back to work. It's Monday morning, a little after 9 a.m., and you can see the side-by-side still loaded up from the weekend fun. But man, oh man, we've got other things we got to worry about today. We got to get mowed. It's like a jungle down there. Gonna start over on the property line over there so I can turn some sprinklers on. Because the plan is to head to the cabin tomorrow, at least for an overnight. So we've got to get all the mowing done here today and get some watering done. So I'm not going to take you long, but I'm just going to tell you what we're doing. Use the old trusty craftsman. There you go. All right, back later. It's Wednesday afternoon, around 4:30 or so. Got the motorhome parked. We got the UTV unloaded, put back in the garage shop, and got a lawn mowed. I showed that. And then I actually got the oil changed in the generator. Yeah, I didn't show you that because it's basically just dumping out and putting oil in, 0.42 quarts. So that's done. So we're pretty much ready to pack up and go to the cabin tomorrow morning. So that's what we're going to do. It's Sunday afternoon around 3 p.m. and I procrastinated long enough. It's time to work on the green truck, the right front brake that's been dragging. I haven't been driving the truck in the last couple months because of that. Wife is out of town. Daughter's away with some friends. Got the place to myself. Of course, I don't have an empty bay in the shop because of yard sale crap scattered around. So we need a place to work on that. So I'm thinking right here where the patio furniture is. Pull it up underneath the cover here and it'll keep me out of the sun and get me on a solid surface. And since the wife's not here, she can't complain. So let's do it. All right, she's in. My wife would be proud. All right, so the problem with working up here, I have to drag tools back and forth and whatnot. But that's all right. We won't need that many tools, I don't believe. So right now, let's get the stuff to get the tire off of there. Just going to use a regular bottle jack and some jack stand, and then get the tire off, and I'll show you when I'm done. Hey there, little Skeeter dog. What you doing? Okay, so I'm 99.9% sure it is the right front tire wheel that is dragging. But since I'm not 100%, I went ahead and jacked up the left, and we'll just quickly check it and rotate it and see that it spins. I haven't tried it yet, so you're doing this with me right now. So it's up, and we're dragging on the ground a little bit. But that one seems to be going just fine. All right, good. We'll jack up the right front and see what that one does. I've got the right front up off the ground, and it isn't budging. So that is our culprit right there. The best way to get that little hubcap off is really to use a factory tool underneath the hood here. And the reason I say that is because it's got a rubber tipped end, and it's just meant exactly for prying those off. So that's what we're doing. The right front corner is supported on jack stands. The wheel is off. And I'm not sure what I really expected to see. I think I was maybe hoping that there was a problem with these bolts here that I think slide back and forth, or at least the caliper slide back and forth. But it looks to me like it's extended out, which would be the direction it needs to go to keep the brake pad away from the disc. So in looking down in, and I don't know, can you see it? Need some light. Right down in there, I'm almost thinking the pad is extended out. But I don't know for sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the left side off, and I'm going to compare and see what it looks like compared to this side. And maybe that'll tell me. But at this point, I'm thinking I probably need a new caliper. I don't know. We'll see. There. How's that look? All right. It took a lot of beating with a hammer. I basically destroyed my brake pads getting them apart. But here's what I learned. These are the little slide things. That one there. That one moves. Maybe not as freely as it should, but it moves. This one here, completely frozen, won't spin. That one there rotates. That one's just frozen tight. So there's our problem. So hopefully I can break that loose and get it lubed up and working. And I'm going to buy some new pads. I think I'll go ahead and buy pads for both sides on the front. And I'll go ahead and replace those tomorrow. So that'll be my project tonight, is getting that freed up. And probably see you guys again tomorrow, Monday. It's Monday morning around 10 a.m. and time to get back to work. Let me show you where we're at. Before I locked the shop up last night, I came down, put this caliper in the vise, and I sprayed some Croil oil in there to loosen it up, I hope. And here's the other side. Here's what it's supposed to look like. And that one slid right out, and we'll slide right back in. So that one's fine. So if we can get this one out and there's no real damage, we can reuse this caliper. Otherwise, I'm going to have to replace the caliper. I've already spec'd out new brake pads, about 50 bucks at O'Reilly's. So if we can get this apart, we'll go down to O'Reilly's and buy the brake pads. Otherwise, I guess we'll be buying a caliper too. But I'm really hopeful we'll be able to get that out. So let's see. Got a little movement out of it. Oh yeah, we're gonna win. Alright, got it out. Notice the coil that I sent down there last night made it a little over a third of the way, maybe halfway down. So, not bad. Both shafts are cleaned up and slide in and out freely. So I'll put some anti-seize on them before I put them back. But first I've got to take these little seals and they need to go back and get pushed in there. So I'll take care of that and show you. We are back from O'Reilly's with the goods and a treat too. Check that out. That's cool. I've been looking for that one. Anyway, let's work on getting these brake pads installed. That's what it looks like with the old crusty parts. Let me show you what it looks like with the new parts. So pretty. Alright, new parts installed. Let's get this hooked up to the other part of the caliper and then work on getting it over the disc. It has taken a couple of 4-inch C-clamps to get the pistons back in their bores, but I've got both of them in there. I think if I remove those 2 clamps, I'll be able to get this back into place and hopefully get it over the disc as well. So what do you think? This side's all back together, ready to put the wheel back on, except you'll recall there's no inner fender liner here, and the reason for that is because over there, exhaust manifold bolts, I had to replace that gasket, and the gasket I'm using are highly compressible, and so they need cinching up every once in a while, and so I was kind of waiting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check all those bolts, cinch them up a little bit as needed, and then we'll put this fender liner back in, and then we'll put the tire on, and then we'll move over to the other side and do the brakes on that side. Sound like a good idea? Sure. I put a wrench on each of those, and I was able to tighten them just a little bit, not much, but a couple of them are a little on the loose side. We're going to call it good. I didn't put a torque wrench, I just torqued by feel. So now we're going to go ahead and put the liner back in. See this canister here? It's hanging down low, and you can see I've got some straps on it. So I need to cut those and pull that off because that needs to sit higher when I put the liner back in. Mama didn't raise no dummy, so I put the fender liner out here in the sun to let it become a little more pliable. So apparently when I took this one off last year, I broke it. Alright, not really a problem. I just need a different bolt for it. Alright, we can do that. Okay, the fender liner is back in. I only have 3 parts left over. So I need to work on that one there, and then there's a couple up underneath there I'm going to try and do something with. I'm honestly not sure what that piece there is for. There's no matching one on the other side. Anyway, I'll dink around, and then I think this thing here is supposed to mount to the fender liner on the top side. So I'll fool around with it, but honestly, if I do no more than I've done right now, it's good enough. So this little canister here, I did get one bolt hole to line up. Unfortunately, I didn't have a nut that fit it. So at the end of the day, I thought, screw it, we'll just go back to zip ties. So I basically have 4 zip ties wrapped into each other, going down and around, and coming through there. So not the most secure thing, but it just needs to keep it from bouncing out of the engine compartment. So we're calling it good enough. So we can basically slam the hood and get this wheel back on, although I think we'll do the brakes on the other side first, just in case we need to reference this side. So when I get the brakes in on the other side, I'll let you know, or if something significant comes up, I'll show you. So as I'm putting the second one back together, a couple of notes. The pin on this side was nearly frozen. I had to struggle to get it out. Didn't have to put it in the vise, but I had to use some pliers and wrench it back and forth. But also wanted to show you the brake pads. There's the new pad, there's the old pad. So they were about halfway through their life. So they were still usable, but new pads are always better than old pads, especially since we're in there. There, does it look finished? I think it is. Tires and wheels back on. I greased the front end parts. I checked the oil, down half a quart. Antifreeze level was down a little bit, top that off. The only thing is the brake reservoir may need some fluid in it. I'm going to take it for a quick test drive around the block and then check it, and then I think we're done. And tonight this truck gets washed and maybe we take it for a drive, who knows. I'm back from a test drive, and I'd like to say everything is just hunky-dory, but it's not. Let me show you. Yeah. She's locked again, still, again. And technically, truth be told, I just got back from my second test drive. After I came back from the first test drive, I jacked it up and it was locked up. And then I went and did some Googling on stuff to see about calipers. And when I came back out, things had cooled down, and it did in fact start to spin. So then I took it for another quick drive, and again it locked up. And that's what it is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take it apart. We're going to replace the caliper. I'm not sure what else to do. Some of the things I read said maybe the brake line, the rubber line has gone bad, and it's allowing pressure to build up in it. So we'll keep that in mind, but for now let's just get it apart. I'll also make sure all the pieces are sliding freely like they're supposed to, but I just put it together. It should be fine. Left side seems to be doing fine. So I do notice that when I'm driving it, it pulls to the right, and then when I hit the brakes, it pulls to the left. So what does that mean exactly? Does that mean I have a problem going left as well? Or is it just so much going on with the right that the front is just, or the left is just doing whatever? I don't know. But let's get this apart, one side at a time. I had to hit 3 different parts stores in order to get this caliper. O'Reilly's didn't have it in stock locally. AutoZone didn't have it in stock locally. Second O'Reilly's didn't have it, but I found out where it was. And then I hit up a Napa, and Napa had it, so yay Napa. So there is the new caliper. Well, I say new, remanufactured caliper. So we need to transfer these parts onto this caliper and get this caliper mounted up. Okay, I really suck taking the green truck for a test drive. I didn't show you guys putting the new caliper back on together. I didn't show you bleeding the brakes. None of that. But we are doing a test drive. So we're going along about 27, 28, 30 miles an hour. Hand off the wheel and get on the brakes. And she stops pretty good. Pulls just slightly to the right. Not bad. That'll probably get better. Yeah, I stayed straight that time. So the brake pads on the right hand side are scuffed a little bit because they were dragging so much, so they're going to need to wear in. But I do think we're fixed, at least for now. She's not dragging, she's not pulling to the right, and yeah, she's braking pretty true. I took my hand off the wheel, so I'm happy. I'll go back and show you guys how I bled the brakes. I won't bleed them again, but I'll go through some of the motions. I've got a neat little brake bleeder from Harbor Freight that makes it a one-man job. So, like I said, I'll show you that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. This is, what are we, Monday night, and we're kind of wrapping up, 7 o'clock. I'm going to go home and place a Taco Bell order, and then we're going to take the green truck and go pick it up. So, there you go. It's Tuesday afternoon around 4:30, and this is the mess I left last night. We've got tools scattered everywhere, and I mean everywhere. So the goal is to get this cleaned up here shortly, but I wanted to walk you through a couple things. Also last night I did manage to wash the truck. I think it looks better, yeah. Except this morning when I took it for a drive, I had to run through something that was wet, and I got a little bit of mud on the right-hand side already. That sucks. So, but it's nice to have a clean working truck again. So, the one thing I had to do last night was replace the caliper, and I didn't walk you guys through that, and I probably should have. It wasn't a huge thing. Anyway, after replacing the caliper, then you got to bleed the brakes. Got no choice. So, I've had this Pittsburgh brake bleeder and vacuum pump kit for a while, and I've used it a couple times. I don't consider myself most proficient at it, but I did okay last night. So I think I got it figured out. So even though we're not going to bleed the brakes right now, let me show you what it entails. There's the new brake caliper. Sorry, I got a little bit of light glare going on coming in from the right hand side there. Can't be helped. So to replace the caliper, it was just a matter of that bolt down there, the shiny one, and the one up top there. Pull those out, pull the caliper off. The one other thing you got to do is this is the fitting for the brake line. Brake fluid runs through that. So I had to disconnect that. That's got a bolt. You get a new bolt and 2 new brass washers with it. You have to replace those. Make sure everything's clean. And so you pull the old caliper off, put the new caliper on, put that connector on there. So that's not too difficult. But once you've done that, now your caliper has no fluid in it whatsoever. So you have to bleed the brakes by pulling brake fluid through it. So what you got to do is, you can see right here is a little, pull the cap off, maybe. There's a little bleeder screw right there. Yeah, right there. So what you have to do is you have to hook up a hose to that bleeder screw. Let me get it set up and I'll show you. There's a little bleeder cap on top of the bleeder hooked to the rubber hose, which comes down around to this little container here, and then the other hose that comes out the other end goes to this little pump right here. So what you've got to do is you've got to press the handle on this pump and bring the thing up over 10, I'll say PSI, but I don't know what it is, but over 10. And then you come up and you open the bleeder screw, and this little pump is sucking through there, and you can watch the pump reading. It'll go back down to 0. They say not to take it over 20, so I was taking it up to about 15, and then I was bringing it down to close to 0. So you pump it to 20. No, sorry, I pumped it to 15. Went up here, opened the bleeder valve. Watch this. As soon as it got down near 0, quickly close the bleeder valve. And you just keep doing that over and over and over again. And it takes quite a while when the caliper is completely empty. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get brake fluid down into this. And once you start getting brake fluid down into this, then you want to make sure you get all the air bubbles out of it. So you just keep pumping and just keep pumping until you've got nothing but just clean fluid coming into there. Now it's kind of hard to tell because this is a sealed container. So once I started getting fluid through it, I went through about 10 more times and figured that all the air bubbles were out. You can kind of hear the air bubbles coming into this container, and then when it kind of quit making noise, I just kept going a little bit longer. And so anyway, then once you're done, you make sure you got this bleeder screw closed nice and tight, and then you pull everything apart and you're done. Unfortunately, this little cap isn't a real good fit, so you kind of have to hold it with your finger while you're doing this. So you're holding this with your finger, then you're pumping with this, and then you're having to take your wrench, wrench right there, and open the screw there. So I hope that's explained it. I'll go ahead and hold it and see if I can get some pressure pumped on there and show you what it looks like. But I could use like 2 more hands to get this done. The other thing too is you're supposed to keep this upright. What you don't want to do is you don't want fluid being drawn back into the pump itself. You just want it staying in this container here. So that little container, it's hard to keep it upright, and it fell over numerous times. I probably should work on that. Maybe I should make a little block or something that sits in. That might be a procrastination garage project. So anyway, I'm sorry if the video quality sucks underneath here, and I'm kind of vibrating a little bit, but that's what it is. But let me see if I can get some pressure on it and show you what that looks like. There, see it's all pumped up? Now if you open it, you can see it's starting to drain off a little bit. That's just got to have a good connection. If you open the bleeder valve, it'll drop much quicker. Let me show you when I lose my suction up above. See it go down? So that's not the way you want to do it. You want to hold that tight, and then you want to be actually sucking brake fluid through. Oh, the other thing you need to do, let me pull that off. The other thing you do while you're doing this is up underneath the hood, your brake reservoir, you need to loosen the cap, and you have to make sure your brake reservoir has lots of fluid in it, because you don't ever want to suck air up there, because if so, you're putting air in the entire system, and then you've got to bleed it from scratch. And my understanding is vehicles with anti-lock brakes, it's a real bear to do them. Some of them you have to use electronic equipment to cycle the ABS computer or something. I don't know if that's the case on this truck, but anyway, we didn't get that point because we didn't let any air get in the system. So that's what I did last night. And then I put the tires back on and took over a test drive, and all was well. Okay, finally, that's the end of this episode of Procrastination Garage. Yeah, this was a bit of a long one. Didn't mean to be. Hey, so what do you think of my new camera? Yeah, there's a little bit of new camera in here, Insta360. I'm still learning how to use it. Use it on a side-by-side ride. It'll do 360-degree viewing. And then when you edit it, you can kind of spin it around wherever you want it. Really cool. I've got a long way to go and learn how to use it better. Anyway, it's a start. So down in the comments, tell me about the projects you're working on, or tell me about the things you're procrastinating about. Remember, Procrastination Garage, the goal is to keep me motivated, keep me working down in the shop, out in the yard, playing up in the hills, whatever, just so I'm not sitting around watching YouTube and TikTok videos all day. I hope to see you back next week. Remember, my name is Matt, and this is Procrastination Garage, and this was episode 100. Woohoo!